Hey guys, just wanted to give a disclaimer about the audio quality in this episode on Elisa and I's end. So the way we recorded this episode was through a Zoom call, and prior to recording with this guest, we have recorded using Zoom before, but didn't have any issues with audio. So I don't really know what happened with our mic or whatever, but I just wanted to give a disclaimer so that way you guys aren't like, what the heck happened? So yeah, and if I could re-record the episode and fix everything and have really good quality audio, I would, but it's just really hard to do that, especially since we're still kind of new to this. So I hope you guys will listen to the episode and enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it. So hope you guys like it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Combined Corner. I'm your host, Camille. I'm here with my co-host, Elisa.
Hey guys.
And today we have a very special guest, the JJSerg. On a real note, his name is JJ, and he's a very close friend of ours. We've known him for a while.
Like all my life, honestly.
Apparently, he used to bully us.
He's our Kuya, that's why. Kuya's bully. The youngins are enemies.
Yeah, but now we're very close friends, and here's JJ to talk about like himself.
Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, TheJJSerg. Yeah, Camille and Elisa invited me to their podcast to talk about Christianity, Catholicism, and the Filipino identity. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's get started. So I guess we'll start with as a kid growing up, like how was your relationship with God, and like what did you even think about it, or was it just like a mindless thing that you were going through because your parents made you?
So I think like most Filipinos, I grew up in the church. I'm a Roman Catholic. Ever since like I can remember, like I just like grew up with like the church always on my mind or something. We always had like daily prayers in my family. Just like the kids and I would always be like in charge of like praying over like the food and stuff whenever like parties happened.
Yeah.
I think like one of my like earliest memories of like a spiritual moment though was it was around 6 or 5, maybe 7 years old, like when I was like a kid. It was like a family reunion kind of thing, and then my grandmother, she runs down the stairs, like all of us are like just hanging out, and then my grandmother, she yells at all of us, and she says, "We're all going fishing now." Yeah, we were all confused because like we never went fishing before, but whenever like grandma says something, we do it because she's like, you know, the leader.
Right, it's you can't disrespect Lola like that, you know. You gotta do it.
So yeah, we went fishing. We went to this. Looking back, it kind of seemed like some guy's backyard. It was really.
Oh my god! Did you guys just break into someone's yard and go fishing?
Well, we rented like poles. We went to like some guy's house, and then we went to the backyard. There's like 3 ponds in the back. Anyways, this guy teaches us all how to fish, and
okay,
that's the thing. So, anyways, while we were fishing, my cousin, I don't know if you guys know him, Quishan, him and my grandmother were fishing on the pond next to us, and they were grabbing fishes left and right, left and right, left and right. And I was like, we had like this rivalry, and I was like really jealous of them. And I was like really angry, and so because I couldn't catch anything, so I grabbed my pole, I lifted it out of the water, and then I storm inside. And my grandpa, he sees me like really frustrated, really like flabbergasted, and then he asks me what's wrong, and I tell him that this this is like a terrible day. I can't catch anything. This is the most stupidest hobby. I hate like grandma telling us to like go fishing. And then he listens to me, and then he tells me, just like this like 5 to 7-year-old kid, well, did you pray about it? I'm like, why would you pray to fish? Like, it's just like, it ain't like nobody's dying or anything. Like, it's like, this ain't that serious. But like, he like genuinely like looked at me and he asked me, did you pray about it? And I said no. And he said, just ask God. Just a little bite. Just pray. And so like, I mean, I was gonna stay there for like maybe the whole day, so I had nothing to lose, and I didn't want to just sit inside, sitting looking at the paint dry, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, I go back with my pole, and then before I throw it out into the water, like that line, I say a prayer, and I still remember it. All I said was, God, please give me a fish, and that was it. That was it.
That was it. I was gonna ask her, how do you pray for fish?
Yeah, how do you pray for like fish?
Like it ain't that deep, but okay.
And then I throw out the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I start counting. I start counting 1, 2, 3, and then I get to 30. No lie, no joke.
Oh my God.
I got a bite. Oh. And then I was like, yo, like super excited. And I was like, I couldn't lift it up, you know? Like it was like that, it was that heavy, like that powerful, like that fish was like so big. And like we like measured it, and I had like the biggest fish out of all like my cousin's fishes, all my grandmother's fishes, you know, like.
Whoa.
But it was just that one fish. That was the only thing I pulled that day.
The entire day you only had one fish?
I only had one fish.
And it was the biggest fish?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, like, for me, I don't believe in coincidences and stuff, but like if that were real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if God only grants like one prayer, you know, in your lifetime, I am so glad that happened, because like years down the line, there's like a famous gospel passage about St. Peter, where he is in a fishing boat and he hasn't caught anything. And then Jesus comes walking down the shoreline and he says, cast down your net. And then Peter has this like sense of doubt, saying, we haven't caught anything. Why even do it? But he still does it. And then when he reels it back in, that net is filled with like so many fishes, you know? So like that spiritual moment, like just looking back on it, like, I don't know, that happened to me in a way.
Yeah. Oh.
So would you say that like that was like the start of, or like the catalyst to your spiritual journey?
I would definitely say so. I mean, that's just maybe like one moment, but like that culminated into like so many other like spiritual moments.
Right. So that was like the start. Maybe that was like where maybe at the time you didn't think too much about it, but looking back,
that definitely like resonated you.
Yeah, resonated. Yeah, exactly. You're like 21, 22. You're 22.
Yeah, I'm 22.
Your 21st birthday, because you're all there. But yeah, no, yeah, you're 22 now. You're still retelling the story from when you were like 5 to 7, and pretty much perfect detail. So clearly it meant something to you. So before we get further into that, so would you say like prior to that experience, were you really like that deep into like your spiritual journey and your relationship with God, or was it just like because like your family did it, it was something like you're like, oh, I have to do it?
I definitely feel like it was more of about a family thing. I really liked being able to like pray or just do something, you know, like with family all together.
Okay.
Just really love that bonding moment, or like that time together, that like quality time. Like I think my love language is quality time. So just being together with the family was just.
So because your family was like very into it, you were like, oh, well, like I want to spend time with my family, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
But prior to that, was this like something that you wanted to go further, or was just like, oh, because my family's doing it, I want to do it?
It was more like a family thing. That was it. Like my grandpa would just tell stories of him, like of growing up in like the World War II era, and like just having that faith that he would be protected by God and stuff. So, I just grew up.
I have a question. During this time, like the fish story, like 5 to 7, I know I did catechism. Did you do catechism around that time too?
Oh yeah, I did it at St. Thomas and Becket.
Your mom was my.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she's my godmother too.
Oh yeah.
We're all
We're all
God
connected.
siblings.
We're all connected in a way.
But okay, so prior to the story, just like for everyone to be clear of your journey, you grew up in the church, but for yourself, you were mostly doing it because you wanted that sense of family and community, but it wasn't for yourself yet. And then this experience happened.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So after that, I don't know, I just really like started to get like into faith and like just started praying more. Like doing like the rosary like with the family and stuff. That was like a big part. We also became part of like this like choir group, like the Spirit of Love. It was like we had like weekly Bible studies every Saturday. And then there would be like 10 to like 12 Filipino families coming together, like an hour-long Bible study from like noon to 1. And then we have lunch. And then it was basically a big party every weekend after that. That's where I met a lot of my closest friends. Through that, led to us being part of the choir. So once a month we would like host like Filipino services where the mass would be in Tagalog, and then we would sing in for that. After that, we moved to Arizona for a year. Then we got out of like that Filipino group. I went to school. That was my first time in Catholic school. That was at St. John Vianney. And then it was around that time where I was like really considering going to the seminary right after like educational, like my educational thing. So like really consider about being like a priest. It was around 6th grade, and then we moved back to Michigan in around 7th grade for me. And then right around the time when I was like thinking, I hadn't told anybody about being a priest or anything. My grandmother again, she like out of the blue when we were like eating, she tells me, "You know, Jay, I really think you'd like be a good priest."
Oh.
I hadn't told anybody.
Oh.
Like I was like thinking about it, and then I just laughed it off, thinking like, they're just like messing around playing. And then my aunt, Quishan's mom, told me that like that during the same dinner, she had a dream about me being a priest.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
Two people on the same day, two different people
yeah.
are telling you to be like, oh, you should be a priest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, two people that were like really close to me too, and like
who had no idea about your like thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea about my thoughts. So, throughout middle school and throughout high school, I was like really discerning about becoming a priest and going to Sacred Heart Seminary. But then push came to shove in high school. Like I went through retreats. I went through like the Sacred Heart like program. But when push came to shove, I couldn't say yes at the time. And so I asked God to show me a different path because I felt I wasn't ready. And then he showed me Michigan Dearborn. And I hated that decision. I didn't like Michigan Dearborn. I really liked Michigan State. Just like that feeling of going to MSU was really cool. I really liked Eastern. Eastern was like a really cool school to go to. State was where all of my friends were going. Ann Arbor was just like, oh yeah, that's the place. I also went to I also considered going to Xavier. I think that's in Ohio, I think. But I just felt like this belonging. Well, not belonging. I didn't feel belonged. I felt called.
A pull maybe.
A pull. Yeah, I'd say it was a pull that I was just meant to go to Michigan Dearborn, and so I said yes because I felt bad for asking God to show me another path.
So you're like, okay, well,
but you want to know your options. Like, what can you do? What else is there?
Right. I didn't want to ask him that. I didn't want to like, because I didn't want to like test him,
Yeah.
Right. Because what if he like made, I don't know, got mad and gave you a worse option. Who knows?
Or like, are you not happy with what
He's like,
you?
I gave you an option, and you're still not sad. You know, I can see that. You know, all power being, you never know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I just said yes to Michigan Dearborn, and it was I couldn't sleep the day before school. Like I pulled an all nighter, couldn't sleep, and so the first day of class, this was the first and last time I ever came to school at 9 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
This is very true. I've seen him walking late to his exams.
I went to school early, and I sat in the cafeteria in one of those like booths, like table booths, and I wouldn't consider this praying. It was more maybe it was more like a curse at God. And I was like really angry that I had allowed that I had said yes to that, to me going to that school, to this school. And so I was like really cursing at him. I was swearing at him. I was just like venting and like unleashing all of my anger against him. But again, I heard in my like a quiet voice in my heart saying, "Just calm down. Just trust me. Have faith. It's going to be okay. I put you here for a reason. You know, in fact, just take a walk. Walk off your anger. Just trust me." And my next class wasn't until 2 in the afternoon. So I had nothing to do, and I didn't want to sit around doing nothing. So I said, "Wait, hold on. Just scratch this off the tape if it's not. Or is this PG-13?"
I mean, it depends.
I was gonna say
just count yourself.
Okay, you guys can edit whatever. But I literally said, "Fuck it, whatever, God, I'll take a walk." And I wanted to block him out of my mind. I really did. So as I'm taking my walk around campus, and Camille, you know where like campus. I'm walking back and like I'm walking around the university center, and then I go to the Castle building, and then I exit the Castle building, and I'm walking along that long stretch, that long stretch of path in the middle of the university campus, and I'm just walking, looking at the trees, looking at like the squirrels like mess around, like eating, and like just looking at the flowers, and I'm like stopping. Like every so often. And so as I'm walking, I'm like looking up at the sky, looking at the trees, just taking it all in, because whenever I did like a campus tour, I never paid attention because I knew I'm here. Someone like comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder, and I didn't see them coming because I wasn't paying attention. And then they ask me, "Do you have a couple minutes to talk?" And my next class isn't for a couple hours, and I'm like, and I rudely tell them, "Yeah, I got a couple minutes to talk. What do you want?" Because I was still on my anger. And then they politely respond to me, "Well, have you heard about Jesus?" And so like 5 to 10 minutes after God told me to like just take a walk, just like don't worry about it, like this person comes up to me and asks me, "Do I know who he is?" And so we had like this long conversation about like what like the gospel, Jesus story, like how does it like provide healing, and what's our purpose here on campus for our academic careers, And so just like thinking about that, just that like that situation, that like experience, that person was from InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And that's like an organization that I'm like a part of like right now to this day, where I became like a small group leader. I became a mentor. I like really learned how to like share my faith to others, right? And so I really like look back at that experience about like why God put me here on this campus at Michigan Dearborn. And prior to like the school, like coming to school at Michigan Dearborn, I was really scared of non-Catholics in a way, because growing up, like I would always like hear about like different like ideologies, or like it was never about where we connected. It was always about I believe this, you believe that, and there's nothing we can do to heal that brokenness right there. And so as a Catholic, I always felt like it was Catholics versus Protestants. It was Catholics versus Muslims. It was Catholics versus Jews and all these other different religious beliefs. And even in like the Catholic belief, like people are still disagreeing about like very detailed parts of like the faith. And so going through InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, I've learned to know what I know, but still be able to converse with others about what they believe into, and be able to connect with others about, wow, we still believe in this, you know? And then coming to like the Catholics versus like Protestants and like all that stuff, like we're still all under Jesus's name, you know? So like looking back, I think one of the main reasons why God really wanted me to go to Michigan Dearborn was because of this InterVarsity chapter. And then looking at all the other schools that I really wanted to go to, like Detroit Mercy was my like number one option. All those campuses that I've seen, they don't have like that InterVarsity chapter. So I don't know. That's where I am today, I guess, about just leading.
So to go deeper into your InterVarsity story, so I'm also part of InterVarsity because of you.
Exactly. Wait, what exactly is that?
Okay, so to give some context, because so on campus, like JJ said, there's this organization called InterVarsity Fellowship. So they do like the two main things they really do is they have small groups and large groups. So small groups is a smaller group where they focus in if it's like a general small group, they focus in on just like Bible passages and we like talk about them and what they mean and like dive deeper. And then there's other small groups where they're like focused on a very specific topic, which we'll get into later because JJ leads a InterVarsity small group that's specific to Asian Americans. Like I said, we'll get into that a little later. Okay. And then we have large group where it's like everyone from all the small groups like meet up and then we get a speaker to speak in about a certain topic and they can vary between many things. I remember one of my favorites was when we talked about love languages and how that relates to religion. That was really cool. But yeah, and it's just like a nice way to like meet new people, talk about religion and all that kind of stuff. But I remember you were like, hey guys, I'm leading a small group. Can you guys come? And I was like, well, since it's JJ, I guess I'll support. That was literally it. I wasn't sure if I was ever coming back, but I was like, I'll go. And then I think I went to every single small group you had that semester. But no, so let's start there. So I guess like after that initial talk with that person, so what did you do following that talk in terms of InterVarsity? Because I know you weren't a leader right away.
So yeah, after that initial talk, they invited me to join the InterVarsity small groups. I joined the freshman small group, and then that's where I started to learn about like inductive Bible studies, where we read a passage, we interpret, we read a passage, we observe what's happening through the context of what's in the time period, then we interpret what those means, and then we apply it to what's going on today. Learn how to do inductive Bible study. I learned how to share my faith through the InterVarsity internship program. And then
do you want to explain what the internship program is for people who might not know? Because I also went through this internship.
So yeah, the InterVarsity internship is like, I think it's like a 7 to 8 week program about in-depth Bible study, learning how to pray, learning how to share your faith with others, learning how to listen to others. It's a bunch of like these different skills about practicing like Christianity. After that, I got introduced to a lot of my close friends. Can I give shout outs or is that
Go ahead.
like shout out to Connor Comps, shout out Seat Cat, Brian, Sydney, Ricky, Hunter, but also shout out to Jeremy Chow. Jeremy was one of my like biggest mentors throughout like my time in university. He's actually like the inspiration behind the Asian American focused small group on campus. So like prior to like the school, I don't know if you guys like have experienced this before, but like going to school has been like kind of lonely in a way because I feel like a lot of my like Filipino friends are like outside of school and stuff. Oh, hey Tito! Hi! sorry. But yeah, I felt what was I talking about? I forgot.
You're talking about like university and what is it? Like after you met your friends and your experience.
Oh, right. So I was talking about yeah. So like prior to coming to the University of Michigan Dearborn, I didn't really have like a lot of like I guess Asian friends in like school, you know. It was like very like lonely, going through like predominantly white schools. Like all of my like I guess Filipino friends were like at home or they were on the weekends, and so I felt no one really knew me outside of school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they understood me. Coming to Michigan Dearborn changed that, where Jeremy Chow really took me under his wing and showed me what it meant to be an Asian American Christian at school and like learn how to like practice and like understand what it meant like to go through like our similar struggles. And so again, he took me under his wing. We acted as like a form of kuya, and yeah, he taught me, and through that, I wanted to like branch out his wisdom and experiences to the rest of my small group, you know.
Right, because I remember when I joined, it was Jeremy. You and Jeremy were leading a small group. It wasn't focused. It was just a normal small group, and like I remember, I thought it was pretty cool that like there was like 2 Asians leading the small group, and then like I think it ended up becoming a very Asian centric small group because most of Safa would come because you had like me, Denisha, and Andre. And then like as time went on, more Safa people started coming, like Noe, Via, I don't even know. There was like more. Occasionally like other Safa members would come in. And I just basically, to me at least, it felt like an extension of like Safa, but instead of like cultural stuff, we were talking about religion and relating back to that because most of us grew up in the church. And then I remember even like when I would talk to Jeremy, he was very like he knew how to be a Asian American and be like follow God. And for like me at the time, I was starting to dive deeper into my faith because prior, like you know this, prior to college, it was always like, I'm just doing it because my parents told me to. And then because you invited me to the small group, and honestly, the first few weeks, I was really just doing it because you asked me. Not gonna lie, I think you know that. But it really got me thinking because I was like, wow, I'm really committing a lot of time to do this. I should maybe consider looking into it a little more. But I think when you announce the next, yeah, because it was winter semester, right? That you and Jeremy, that was your first time leading, right? That winter semester? Because I wasn't involved fall, so I don't know what you were doing. But, and then you were like, hey guys, I made an Asian American small group. And I was like, ooh.
But yeah. Actually, Eliza, I don't know your spiritual background. Do you like want to share too, or is that not part of like the podcast? I don't know. I don't want to like step on toes and stuff, but
No,
I
you're
don't.
good. I mean, I can share a little bit. Honestly, like Camille said, I was just like in it because my family was into it, and then
We used
growing
to
up,
see each other at church all the time.
yeah, we used to. And then like people started getting busy. My parents started working more, so we wouldn't go to church. And like I didn't have my Lola around a lot, so like I didn't have that connection. So like I don't know, honestly. I feel like I'm agnostic, if you know what that means. I think it's not where like you believe that there's something, but you don't know exactly what, because that's what I am.
I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not particular about like definitions and stuff, but I think that's what it means. Yeah.
I'm
Should
almost
I look
positive.
this
Yeah,
up?
you can if you just really quickly, but like I said, I have to like look more into things, and like if I had a kuya like you at my school, I feel like I would have been like where Camille is right now, honestly, because like we're basically the same person. But like that's my background and how I am.
Yeah, agnostic means like you believe in a higher being, but you're not for sure. It's like
Period.
God.
Period.
So you just need to dive deeper, but you need someone to
I
lead
need
you.
a leader, and I'm really lazy, especially because like
So you need a leader.
yes.
You're like, oh, he's doing it, I'll do it, and then
Well, I don't know if this is the time for plugs, but we are doing an online version of the small group.
Oh.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
check
remember you just announced the time.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. Check out at TheJJSerg. Wait, I don't know if it's gonna be.
Yeah. Will you still be doing like stuff later on?
This will come out around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll still be doing small groups. So yeah, every day, 7 p.m. We'll be doing an Asian American focused small group. My co-leader Lindsay and I will be going through the Bible series. Have you eaten yet? It's like this really cool, really excited. Like this, like I helped create a little bit of it. So, but it's like this 12 to 13 series of like instances in the Bible where food has been brought up, and I know in Asian American culture that food, yeah, it's
Food is such a big thing, and it's when everybody comes together. Even our podcast name, the Kanai.
Yeah, so fitting.
but yeah, we'll be doing like a Bible series around food and the importance of it, and I'm really excited for it. So if you're free, 6 to 7 Wednesday, 6 to 7, and you
Yeah,
don't,
come
Okay.
come this Wednesday, November 18th.
We'll put in our show notes.
Yeah, we'll put some information in the show notes.
cool. And you do
But-
not have to be Asian American to be included. We are very inclusive. It's just Asian American focused because the questions happen to pertain to Asian American identity. However, the struggles and like situations that Asian Americans go through are not exclusive to the Asian American identity.
Yes. Even his co-leader isn't Asian American.
Mhm.
Oddly enough, his co-leader is also Jeremy Chow's girlfriend. So it's full circle. No, I love Lindsay. Lindsay, if you're listening to this, we love you.
I love you, Lindsay.
But yes, back to I don't even know where we were before this.
We're talking about small group.
Yeah, we're talking about, so I guess, right, so we were talking about like what inspired you. So Jeremy, you and Jeremy led this, so to recap, you and Jeremy led a small group.
Mhm.
And then you invited all Safa to join and some of your other close friends. And it ended up becoming a very Safa-oriented small group. And then you got the ball rolling, like, hey, maybe I should make an Asian American focused small group.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we'll just go on from there, because I remember the first time, or yeah, because what was it? Yeah, so then the new year came, and then they were announcing all the new small groups. And I guess if you want to talk about like your experience with creating the Asian small group, and like the differences it was from a regular small group, because you guys had to kind of prep on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want to like go into that.
So yeah, my co-leader Andre and I, Andre Sanderpita and I, we hosted for 2 semesters an Asian American focused small group. The first semester we went through like the normal gospel passages, and it was like more of like an introductory to Christianity. But then second semester, winter, I think that was winter 2020. Oh, excuse me.
The COVID winter.
Yeah.
Semester.
We went through Losing Faith and Finding Grace, the series of passages created by, I think, Tom Lin. And
Did
it was
you meet him?
I met him online. Well, not okay. I didn't really meet him, but I like watched a video.
I watched the video.
Him live? Or...
He was live. So
okay.
I was gonna say you watched the video of JJ. That's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you meet like someone else that was Asian and related to like university or something?
That is Tim Lin. I don't think.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, Tom Lin wrote the book Losing Faith and Finding Grace, and it's like a series of 12 Bible passage for like the Asian Americans, and then it focuses on like 4 themes. It was about low self-esteem, a distorted image of God, an emphasis on false security, and being unreal with who you are, with yourself, with your friends and family, and with God. We just focus on those 4 themes and looking at different and various Bible passages about that address those themes, and we analyzed about like where in these lives have we seen these ideas. It was like really cool, just seeing like the growth of like all of my small group members and just everyone sharing and like growing better and stuff and growing closer to God.
So I guess like when you decided to, so how did you like find this book? I guess we'll start there.
It was actually at our our annual chapter focus week. It was a week-long like camp like process where it was like basically Christian camp. Like workshops, and I went through like from Genesis to Matthew, like the big like right before Matthew. Like I like went through like workshops about like the entire Old Testament. But during our free time, we got to like explore the camp, and then on like one of like the last couple of days of the week, I went to the bookstore with my friend Deontay Hunter, and then he like works at the like he used to work at the camp, and then he's like really knowledgeable like scripture and like resources and like different various books. And I asked him, "Hey Deontay, is there like any Asian American focused stuff here?" He was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then he just grabs a book and he's like, "Here." Like, Deontay, how'd you know? It's like, I don't know, man. I just know. He was like, "Here, I'll show it to you guys." Like, I don't think you guys can see it on the podcast, but you too can see it. It's like just like this, Losing Faith and Finding Grace. Like a little. It's like a bunch of like different like scripture stuff and like questions and like how to lead the like the Bible study and stuff. But it was like really like thorough, in depth, and like had like questions about like if someone says this, like how to like dive deeper into that.
Oh, so it had like examples.
Exactly.
That's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I also know that you vlogged this experience. So if you guys want to see his experience, you can also check it out on his YouTube channel, TheJJSerg. This whole podcast is just really just plugging in all your social media.
By the way, everything's TheJJSerg.
Honestly,
your own brand. Honestly,
JJ in himself is a brand. Honestly, if you type in TheJJSerg in like almost any social media platform, I guarantee you will find it. Like what was it? What was that one thing that was surprised you got? Yelp. You had like a Yelp account, right? Like essays on there. Actually, they're pretty good if you want to see his Yelp reviews. TheJJSerg. But yeah, no.
I got my LinkedIn to say the TheJJSerg.
Did you really? Oh my god.
Your LinkedIn. Oh my god.
I think I'll probably link your main ones, but I think I'll probably put like, honestly, if you want to find them on anything else, just type the TheJJSerg.
Yep.
But okay, so going back to your Asian American small group. So you found this book, right? And then you were inspired from your quote unquote kuya. And then so I guess what was the process like getting started? Like, because obviously you had to diverge from the like. Okay, so give some context for people who don't know. So if a small group isn't focused on a specific topic, they the staff workers help set up a like regular passages for everyone to do, and they like go over like how to lead, that kind of stuff. But obviously for you and Andre, you guys, at least in the winter semester, you guys chose to diverge and do your own. So what was the process like figuring out how it's like what parts of the book you wanted to use, and like setting up the way that you guys were structuring everything? So
Yeah, so that first semester, so we did the Losing Faith and Finding Grace in the winter of 2020. In the fall of 2019, we did like the normal like the normal gospel readings that everyone in the chapter does. But alongside that, when I would like go home during my quiet times, I would actually do this during the fall. I would do
so you were already prepping the semester before?
Yes, I was already prepping the semester before just for personal things. I didn't think about like using this because I was like scared to like go to my staff worker saying, "Hey, can I like actually use this resource?"
Oh, so it wasn't even like at the time, it wasn't even like, oh, I want to do this. You're just like, oh, let's just do this for fun.
I was doing it for my personal development with God. But then as I was like doing it, I was like week 2, I was like, "Yo, this is like fire."
This needs to be shared.
Yo, sounds like something you would do. You'd be like, yo.
Yeah, I have like my journals and like behind me. I was like, you can literally read, "Yo, this is fire." No, that's fire. No, yo, this is fire. Like this like resource, it was like such a blessing. But yeah, I was just prepping it by myself, just like using it as like a personal resource. And then as I was going through it, I really thought that this is like really fire content that needs to be shared with like the rest of like my small group that's Asian American focused. So like the prep idea, that wasn't really difficult because I already knew most of the answers. But having
Because you did it yourself.
I did it myself. But having Andre there as like a second pair of eyes allowed me to see, yo, I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're like reading the answers, they're not like 100% like, yo, this is the answer. It's more like a suggested answer. And so when Andre would like read it, he would be like, yo, have you thought about this? And then I would like look at the back and like, no, I didn't think about this, and the book didn't. So like Andre like contributed even more to, I guess, like if we're going with the analogy, but more to the campfire, you know. So prepping it was not that difficult. Just working with Andre, that was like, it was such a breeze. But I think, yeah, that was about it. That was about it for like prepping wise.
Okay, so I guess what was like the hardest part, like getting this rolling, like making this a thing? If there was any.
I don't really know about the hard thing. I think the hardest thing was translating the book into an online format.
Oh, so when we had to go online.
Oh, no. So there's only one copy of this. There's only one copy of the book.
Oh, you mean like making it so that way you could share?
That way I can share it.
Okay.
So I literally spent the entirety of winter break typing out the entire book.
Oh my gosh. You didn't think to like
the dedication,
scan it?
Yeah.
Maybe enlarge?
Well, the thing about like scanning it, like I can't edit the PDF.
Oh, so you wanted to edit in a certain way?
Yeah. So some of the questions, some of them are more personal.
Uh-huh.
We had to reformat the questions for a more group setting.
That's understandable.
Okay, so that
Oh, yeah,
the dedication.
Yeah. And then Andre, he was in the Philippines during that time, so it was just me typing up this book.
Oh yeah, retyping up the book. But I mean, now you have it. It worked out. I was part of that small group. I enjoyed it, and I think most people who participated enjoyed it.
We had like a lot of positive feedback. So
I remember, weren't you said something about like your small group was like the second largest or something?
yeah, like my staff worker, Christy and Rachel, they were like, they saw the pictures on Facebook about the there was like we were all in the SOC, and then it was like, combined like 3 tables, and then we all posed with our like little like color like picture thing, like our like
Affirmations.
and then they were like, Sergio, we didn't know you had like so many like friends.
Oh my god, yeah, when your birthday party, oh my god, I don't even know how we all fit in your house.
And then when I made that Star Wars picture, they like everyone really like all like my teammates on the team and like my staff workers, they like really had like a really like they had a kick out of it, and just like all like the people that come like the small group and like learning about God was just it was like really cool.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, even like my first time, even when it was just like Jeremy and you, there was like a lot of people. Like that was before you had to move into SOC, and we were still like at the couches on the second level of the UC.
Mm-hmm.
There was still like quite a bit of people. I was kind of surprised. Didn't know like half those people, so I was very scared, as you know. But yeah, no, and then the more over time, I was just like, I don't remember a time where you didn't have to split into 2 groups because there's so many people, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just like that many people. But I mean, you also have a lot of friends who support you and Andre. There's a lot of people. And then there's also the people who just wanted, that Asian American like focus group. It really helped. It was really nice. I know for me, who got to experience it, it was really nice to have like those focus, especially with like my struggle with religion and then like the identity too. So it was nice having that. Because what was really nice, or what I really liked about was it losing? I forgot how to say.
And finding grace.
Losing faith, finding grace. So for people who don't know, this like the way they had it format was there was a like story right before we got into the passage, and the story was like a real life story or like based off like an experience, but it's like very relatable. It would be something along the lines where like Jim had a test and his dad said to do better even though he got like an A or something, like not obviously not like that, but like better details, but like something relatable that most of us could relate to. And then the passage would go into like that's like kind of relate back to that story and like talk about like how to deal with it and stuff like that. I really liked having that relatable story because for some people I know just going straight into passage can be hard to understand. So having something a little more relatable before that you can kind of reference back to was really nice. But also like again, like they pulled specific passages that relate to certain experiences, and I was kind of shocked how relatable everything was. I don't know. Honestly, when you said we'd be using this, I was like, I don't know what to expect. But then again, it's JJ. Can you really expect? I don't know. Can't really expect anything.
If this is allowed, I can like share like the first week of like the Bible series. You guys can put in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. Just yeah.
I'll provide a link to like purchase the material as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll have all that information. If anyone's interested, they'll be in the show notes. So you can get your hands on this and dive deep. Or maybe if this podcast inspires you to start your own Asian American small group, do it. And if you do that, share it with us. But
we'll support.
Yeah, we'll support you guys. Honestly, do it.
I would go to another Losing Face and Finding Grace small group. That would be amazing.
Do you like
how other people like interpret things?
Yeah, or like being on the other end, you're not the leader, you're just like sitting back and like, participating.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from your small group. So I guess so that's where you're at today. You're currently leading. So is this gonna be your last semester leading?
Yeah, but our staff workers, since we don't really have like another like Asian American like leader, they were like inviting me to like volunteer once I'm done graduated. So just like help cultivate the community.
And maybe hopefully, I know you and Andre were pushing for me. That's what Andre would tell me all the time. Oh yeah, we're trying to get you to do it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, but you said you were busy, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of busy, and now that this is a thing.
Your legacy needs to live on. You need to find somebody else to carry the baton for you.
No, literally, he has this like very specific joke that he does at like the first or second meeting, and we need to find someone to carry that on. This is a Safa thing. And for anyone who was at our very first PCN, you know the joke. You know this joke too.
I think it's a magic trick.
Magic trick joke, same thing. But if you're curious, I guess you're just gonna have to. I don't know what you're gonna have to do if you're not from the Midwest. I don't know how you're gonna find out. But anyway, yeah, no, JJ has definitely, as a person, JJ has left a very big impression and legacy within Safa, within university, and that's why we have him here, because he has inspired many people, not only myself, but a lot of our close friends. Okay, so I guess because we're getting close to the end, so we'll start wrapping up with our final points. So I guess to go in, so this is where you're at now. You're leading a small group for Asian Americans. You're pretty set in your faith. So how has religion become very important to you and all that?
I think like God, like Catholicism, Christianity, they've become like important to me by like giving me purpose. I've thought about this for a while, and like I really went through like a deep, like I guess dark place when it became like really serious. But when you think about it, like in my personal opinion, I don't feel like I want to live on this place in this world. Like when just like looking at the news about how there's so much racial injustices in the world, like disease, there's murder, there's so many wrong things happening in the world. Why would anybody want to continue living in this place? And when all things are said and done, no matter what I do in this life, no matter how much money I make, no matter how much success I have, no matter how many friends I have, no matter how popular I am, no matter what happens, everyone's going back into the dirt. And I don't want to like make this depressing or anything, but going through the motions or going through all like this life, it's kind of demoralizing and it's really depressing. And so to me, without a God, without having that purpose of his good news, that there is something after, I don't feel like I'm actually living, So without God, and the reason why he's so important is because he prevents me from thinking that way. Through God, through his love for me, through his love for you guys, he's allowed me to see, hey, that's not what this world is made of. When I see my Black brothers and sisters being killed, God is calling me to say, hey, I love these people too. Now, if you love me as your God, you have to love them. you know. And so, to me, when I think about, like, is this Christianity thing? Is it even worth my time? I think it is, because without it, like, I don't care. I don't care that people are dying. I don't care that I'm going to die, because everybody dies. But God is telling me, no, you have to care, because I love you and I want you to love them as well. And so that's why, like, God is important to me. He gives me that sense of purpose to change, to care, to cry for people, But I don't know, that's just my take on, like, oh my gosh, that was so deep.
It was beautiful. I was like, preach, just talking, like.
In true JJ fashion, he dismisses how deep he can get. Okay, and then I guess our last talking point is the importance of Catholicism to Filipino culture and how it shapes. Because it definitely, I don't know. It's so deep.
It's so like.
I know, like, for me, because of some of the people in my life, we've started having well, I know you talked about Filipino specific masses, and more recently, at least in Michigan, there has been Filipino celebrations in the church happening. Some example would be like the Santa Cruzan, Flores de Mayo, the feast day of Lorenzo Luis, are to name a few of the ones that have been consistent in at least here in like the area we live in. So obviously there's some very deep ties between Catholicism and Philippine culture. So
yeah, Catholicism as a whole, like, is very, I think, important to, like, Filipino culture. Also, like, religion in general. I think, like, a big question that a lot of Filipinos have been, like, asking, that I've noticed I've been asking, is, like, this idea of, like, colonialism, about how how the Spaniards used Catholicism to invade, and they used Catholicism to justify that what this invasion is a good thing. And I think a really, interesting question is, had that not happened, would we still be Christians, or would we still be Catholics, or what would that look like about had they not invaded or something? Would we still, like, believe in, like, the one true God? Now, I don't know the answer to that. But for me, I think it's important to disconnect the brokenness of what humanity has done between what is the truth, what God is. I think it's like, I don't know, like, this is like what ifs, and I hate doing what if conversations, but, like, I feel like even if the Spaniards didn't come, Christianity would have found a way to reach, because that's just what the way the gospel works. That's just how it works. When you hear when you hear, like, a guy raising from the dead, when you hear about, like, a man feeding 5,000 people with, like, a couple loaves of bread and, like, a fish, it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Guy walking on water, like, that news, it just spreads, and it's just like these miraculous things of, like, going on in people's lives. And it's just, I don't think that would have been contained in, like, that region where Jesus was, like, around about.
mm-hmm.
It would have found a way to travel. So I don't know about, like, the colonialism of, like, the brokenness, and, like, that's like a whole can of worms. Like, you guys can even do a podcast with somebody else.
We'll have you back.
But, like, Christianity is, like, ingrained in, like, Filipino culture. Like, even in, like, the people that don't believe in God anymore. Like their practices, their like traditions, it's all in like that Filipino like, or in like that Christian Filipino like X, you know, whatever.
A lot of the cultural dances or like traditions are rooted in like those religious things. So it's like, it's kind of like when you look at it, yeah, you can't really find the disconnect. So it's very like, for even for someone not to believe in religion but to still do these cultural things, like it's, they're gonna have to know something. They might not believe in it, but they're gonna know because it's there. You can't deny it.
I have some like articles that you guys can share in the
show notes.
Notes.
Yeah, just send them our way. We'll
be happy to share.
We're happy to share everything, all the resources. I guess that means we'll start wrapping up. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I hope it was very informal. And if it inspired you to start an Asian American small group, or just start diving deeper into your relationship with God, please start sharing it with us, because we honestly would love to hear about it. Especially JJ, and you can find him in honestly any social media if you just search up the TheJJSerg. But we'll link some of his more main ones in the show notes, and any reference material and all of that will also be in the show notes. Where to buy Losing Face, Saving Grace, right? That's the title.
Losing Face and Finding Grace.
Losing Face, Finding Grace. We'll have a link to like where you can buy it, and also JJ's, was it the first set or
first
week?
Yeah, the first week.
The first week of that book. We'll have that there too, and all, like I said, other reference material that you may want to look at if you're very interested. Let's see, is there anything else we need to say? Oh yeah. So if you guys please give us a like, let us know what you guys want us to talk about on the podcast. We would be happy to try to do that if we can. And follow our socials in the show notes, and then obviously follow JJ on everything. And I couldn't help but notice all that wind gushing, and I think your ghost is trying to talk to you, JJ. For those who don't know, JJ house has a ghost. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to hear from you guys next time.